everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We are here at Hawkeye Breeders here in Adel, Iowa. We're about 15 minutes west of Des Moines here at Hawkeye Breeders. And I'm Kelly Foss. I'm with Iowa Agriculture Literacy Foundation. This is a quick video we're going to do as part of our high stakes programming. Thanks again for joining us. I am so excited to meet up with Shane Boston here at Hawkeye Breeders. He is going to help us learn a little bit more about the latest technology that they use to help the beef, dairy, and show breeders keep their cattle programs on track. So I would like to introduce you to Shane Boston here at Hawkeye Breeders. Hi Shane, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. Can you just give us a quick overview what you do at Hawkeye Breeders and how this is important to the cattle industry?
I sure will. Yeah, thank you for the introduction. We are Hawkeye Breeders, located here in Adel, and been in business for 50 years. We're currently on a third generation of ownership, and really started in a garage. We've grown over the years. We've grown in size and locations. And to tell you a little bit about who we are and what we do, we are a custom bull stud. And so they tell us that we're the largest independently owned custom bull stud in the world. And what that means is we have bulls here on site. Currently we house about 250 head of bulls in individual pens like what you're seeing here. And by custom, what we mean is we don't own these bulls. We house these bulls, we collect semen, and we ship it around the world. Annually we ship somewhere between 500,000 and 1 million units of semen overseas each year, and for a variety of reasons. One thing, you know, our business is made up of about 80% dairy, 20% beef and other breeds, and for different reasons, whether that be entertainment or show cattle, etc. 80% of our dairy business is Holstein bulls, which you may see in the background here, some Holstein bulls. Here we have a big old Holstein bull that's been here for a while. People are using genetics for different reasons, and in the dairy breed, in the dairy industry, you might be using a bull like this for milk production. And in the dairy breed, it would seem like, well, that would be the most obvious thing, is that we're going to be looking for more pounds of milk being produced. But there's other reasons they would make a selection. For example, if you're running a dairy and you have cows that produce very well, but longevity isn't great. Maybe they have a problem with their feet and legs, so you may want to select more for structure, for a bull that's really sound, to bring that soundness into your cow herd so that you can get more years out of a cow. So that's on the dairy side. On the beef side, again, different reasons people are selecting different bulls. The most obvious would be for the carcass quality, so that when ultimately they reach the end of their productive lifespan and they're harvested, we're talking about higher quality products, higher quality steaks, leaner meat, more marbling, all those things. One thing that I think is important, especially as we talk to younger people in the classrooms, is just how important it's going to be going forward as we look at our resources, we look at our feed availability, and we look at our carcasses. It's going to be important to be weaning heavier calves. It's going to be important to yield heavier carcasses on less feed. So feed efficiency is going to be a huge factor. As we all know, they're not making more land, but they are covering more land up with buildings and houses. And so we've got to become more efficient. And it's really what I feel like the future generations are going to be charged with, is to become more efficient, whether it be meat production or milk production, either one, where that efficiency is going to be a vital aspect of continuing agriculture throughout the world. And ultimately, here in the United States, we're charged with feeding the world.
Your cattle look really happy here. How long do each of them stay?
Great question. So how long do our cattle stay here? And we try to keep them comfortable. I appreciate you noting that. It really ranges. It's a tough question to put a number to, because we've got bulls that have literally been here for 10 years, and we've got bulls that will come in and just need a small amount of semen frozen on them. And so they might be here for a week. So it's all over the board. It would be difficult for me to say what's our average stay, but it just totally depends. As I mentioned, we're a custom bull stud, so we don't own the cattle, and every bull comes in here with a different goal in mind. One guy might want to put 200 units of semen in a tank, kind of as an insurance policy in case the bull would get hurt. And those bulls may stick around here for, a day or two or a week, or depending on the quality of semen. Whereas some of these bulls that are in production, some of our dairy breeds, as well as other bulls, like some of our show bulls that are genetically very successful in show ring. Some of those bulls we've collected over 100,000 units on, and they've been around for 10 years or longer. It's very important that we have a checks and balances system in place, and we make sure that we know what bull we're collecting when we actually harvest the semen from these bulls. And so you can see here we've got a bull, it says driller in his ear, and in that tag, and that tag's a little hard to read, some of them are better, but it also identifies that bull with a cane code, and with what we call an NAAB code. And that code is actually sticks with that bull's production. And as we go into the lab, we may be able to see on a straw of semen, we'll print that same number and the name of the bull and the date that semen was collected. So all that will be as part of that, as an identifier for that individual animal, and it'll carry it all the way until that product is actually used for insemination in a cow.
Well, that's been really great information, and you really answered so many questions. I'm really curious about what you do in the lab and sort of inside when you're shipping this product across the country and maybe around the world. Can we step inside and talk a little bit about that?
We sure can.
So I know we can't go into the lab, but can we talk about what happens in the lab and maybe take a peek in the window just to kind of see so we can see what it looks like, and maybe you can tell us why the step of the lab is important.
Absolutely, we sure can. Let's go back here. We can take a look through. We have two separate labs. We have lab for our CSS semen, and what you see in here are some tanks on wheels here, and it's actually where the freezing process takes place. And behind the closed doors over there is actually where the semen is processed and actually taken from just a volume into straws. We have most of our semen is frozen in half cc straws. There is different segments. There's quarter cc's and half cc's depending on where that semen is going to be sold at. If it's overseas, they usually use quarter cc straws. And here in the United States, half cc straws. We have this lab here that we can just kind of look in there, and you can see some microscopes and some computer printers and so forth. If you zoom over here right to this corner, you can see right through there, that's actually a straw printer. So as I mentioned, those straws, and you can see kind of a bin holding those empty straws, and that we go back to the ear tags and the names of the bulls. All that information is input into that computer, and then they're printed straws right there. When the semen comes into the lab, we harvest the semen in the barns, and as we process that and bring it into the lab, we bring it in here, and we use different tools like this computer setup, and it can tell you an amazing amount of information about the quality of that semen. It can tell you the concentration of the sperm cells in that sample. It can tell you the morphology, whether there's, for lack of better terms, good swimmers in there that are going to get the job accomplished, or whether they're going in circles and they're not going to be productive. The products we have, or the programs we have, the computer, the equipment, all that helps us to determine, number one, how many straws of semen we can make off that sample that we harvested from that bull, and it tells us how good that's going to be and what the effect's going to be.
So some of your customers, are they interested in gender selection? Do you guys do that here?
That's a great question.
And is that something that happens in the lab?
Yes, it is. At this time, it doesn't happen in the lab here, but what we do is we work with another company to actually process what we call sex semen. So you could gender selection is a great way of saying that, and it could be, you can reverse sort, and you can either sort for male or female. So then, when you use the straw semen, I think they say it's a 90% accuracy rate that you're going to get 90% bull calves if bull calves are what you're after, or females, heifer calves, if heifer calves is what you're after. So I threw out some terms there that maybe not everybody's familiar with. When I say bull calves, that's a male calf is a bull. A neutered male calf, maybe you've heard of a steer, and so that's kind of that. Female calf, heifer. So yeah, if you're in the dairy business, for example, what you're really wanting is you're wanting to produce a heifer calf that's going to go on and be productive in your herd.
Can you help us kind of learn a little bit more than what you do, how you get it to them, how you store it, and how you ship it?
Sure, absolutely. We store the semen in these tanks. Each one of these tanks could hold about 100,000 units of semen, and they are what we call nitrogen tanks, liquid nitrogen. And so you get the steam coming off of them. Liquid nitrogen, I believe, it's about 315 degrees below Fahrenheit. So it's quite cold. And from what we know, as long as you keep this semen stored in an appropriate amount of nitrogen, liquid nitrogen, it's viable. We've used semen that's been frozen for over 50 years and produced perfect calves. And so as you can kind of see down in this tank as the fog lifts, this is actually, we call these, canes of semen, and each one of these holds 10 units of semen. And so you can see there's quite a bit of semen in here. If this tank was 100% full, it could hold right close to 100,000 units of semen. So if you took that times the 67 tanks, you're talking about a lot of semen. Could produce a lot of cattle. The semen, as you can see here, a common question when you look down at one of these tanks is why the different colors? Is that different breeds? It's not. What we do is we color code per year, and so as we ship semen, our shipping manager he would get an order in to ship some semen. Our customers would be contacting us and saying, hey, we need to get semen shipped, and so to do that, they place an order and shipped wherever they want it, whatever farmer's going to use it, or farmer or rancher. And so he's going to come in here and he's going to know that, like, for example, maybe 2020 is yellow. So immediately, if this bull was collected in the year 2020, immediately he's going to start looking for the yellow cane tops. And that just helps him identify it. It's just an organization. It's just a way for us to be more efficient as far as processing.
Can you show us some of your shipping tank, or how you get this semen to the customer and make sure that it stays frozen and it stays at the level of quality that you want it to be?
Absolutely. So here we have kind of what our normal shipper looks like. A tank like this, this is going out to northern Iowa. This is our normal shipper, and a tank like this will hold 2,000 units of semen, and it's good for about 20 days. So it's not intended for long-term storage. But if we cool the tank before we put the semen in it, top it off with liquid nitrogen, and ship it, this tank will last for about 20 days, and we could ship out 2,000 units of semen in that tank.
Shane, you've been so helpful, and we've learned so much from you today. What can you tell us that we haven't asked that you think we need to know about Hawkeye Breeders and what you do for the industry?
Artificial insemination is a vital part of these producers staying in business. And if you continue to do things the way they were done for generations, if you just make bull selections off of my neighbor's got a bull for sale, for example, you'll get by. And right now, agriculture and the cattle industry is thriving, and you'll continue to get by. But if you really want to pass, this heritage on to the next generation, we're going to have to do more than get by. We're going to have to be successful. We're going to have to be more efficient. I know I beat that word to death this morning, but I think it's so important as young people look to the future and say, can I do this? Yeah, you can do this, but you're going to have to really focus on how you can do more with less. I think that's the biggest thing.
Wow. That is really, really great. Great information for all the students who are learning about agriculture, students who know about cattle or have never seen any cattle in their life. You've taught us so much today. I thank you so much for your time.
You're sure welcome.